In 1794, a man proved that the people you have lost are still here, not as a belief, not as a comfort. Physically, measurably, provably here. Every atom that once built the person you are thinking of right now, their hands, their voice, the particular way they move through a room, none of it has gone. It transformed. It moved. It became part of the world around you. Your atoms are immortal. He had the mathematics to show it. Hours later, they took his head. His name is Antoine Lavoisier. He was a chemist in Paris, and what he found in a sealed glass vessel, over 20 years of careful measurement, is the most precisely verified fact in the history of science. It was true before you were born. It will be true long after everyone alive today is gone. And it means something personal, something specific, about you, and about everyone you have ever loved and lost. Stay with this, because when it lands, you will never think about your own existence the same way again. In 1768, I was 25 years old and newly elected to the Royal Academy of Sciences in Paris. I had a law degree I never used, and I had a question I could not put down. When something burns, a candle, a piece of wood, a human body, where does the weight go? Every university from London to Berlin taught the same answer. Phlogiston, an invisible substance that escaped from objects when they burned. It had no weight, no color, no measurable property of any kind. When wood turned to ash and weighed less, phlogiston had departed. That was the explanation. That was considered sufficient. I did not find it sufficient, because if matter could simply escape into nothing, if weight could vanish, then what you are made of could also, someday, simply cease to exist. That question was not abstract to me. It felt personal, final. My wife Marianne sat across the bench from me every evening in our Paris laboratory, not as an observer, but as a partner. She drew every technical illustration that appeared in every paper I published. She translated English scientific journals I could not read myself. She recorded numbers by candlelight while I weighed and measured through the night. The law I am about to describe to you came from both of us. I want you to know that. Here is what we found. I took a sealed glass vessel. This was Paris, 1772. Nothing could enter. Nothing could leave. I placed tin inside, applied heat, and then weighed everything. The vessel, the air inside, the tin. Before the reaction, and after. The tin gained weight. The air inside lost weight. By the exact same amount. To the gram. Not approximately. Exactly. And if that is true for tin in a sealed vessel, it is true for the matter that makes up your hands right now. If matter cannot escape a sealed vessel, if it can only move from one form to another, then the matter you are made of cannot escape either. Not when you are sick, not when you age, not when you die. It moves, it transforms, but it does not disappear. I ran the experiment again. Same result. I tried sulfur, phosphorus, lead, mercury. Every time, whatever one substance gained, another lost. The total never changed. Whatever was happening inside that vessel was not creation, and it was not destruction. It was rearrangement. And the universe, I came to understand, does nothing else. Think about something you have seen your entire life. An iron fence standing in the rain for 20 years. That reddish crust that spreads across the surface. Most people assume the iron is rotting, disappearing, slowly vanishing into nothing. The opposite is happening. The iron is pulling oxygen from the surrounding air and binding it to itself. The fence is getting heavier. The air immediately around it is getting lighter. By the same amount, nothing is leaving. Nothing is arriving. Everything is rearranging, and the total stays exactly, immovably the same. Now think about a candle. You light it. The wax melts, catches, burns. An hour later, the candle is gone. Most people believe the wax has disappeared. It has not. The wax became carbon dioxide and water vapor, both invisible, both weightless to the eye, and those atoms spread into the room around you, into the air you breathed while sitting there, into your blood. The atoms that were once wax became, for a moment, part of you. This is not poetry. This is chemistry, and it is what happens to everything, including the matter that currently makes up your hands, your lungs, your thoughts. Nothing leaves the system. Everything rearranges. This is not a special property of iron or wax. It is a property of everything that exists, including you. Your body is not a fixed object sitting still. It is a process. The atoms in your hands right now are not the same atoms that were there 10 years ago. Most have moved on, exchanged into the ground, the air, into other living things. New atoms have taken their place, borrowed from food and water and every breath you have drawn. The body you carry at this moment contains matter that was once inside rivers, ancient forests, creatures that walked this earth millions of years before your species existed, stars that exploded before our sun was formed. You are assembled from the oldest material in existence, and when the process, that is, you finally stops, when the last breath leaves and the last exchange is complete, not one atom that currently makes up everything you are will be destroyed. The law does not allow it. The matter will move, transform, become part of other things, completely unrecognizable as you, changed in every way that can be measured, but never absent, never gone, never destroyed. Think of someone you have lost, a father, a friend, someone whose absence you still feel on certain mornings, in a particular light, at a particular hour, when something reminds you and the feeling arrives before the thought does. The matter that was them did not vanish. The law I spent my life proving means that every atom which once composed the person you are thinking of right now, every atom that built their hands, their voice, their particular way of being in a room, all of it is still here, in the air, in the earth, in the water that moves through living things, transformed entirely, changed beyond recognition, present in forms they would not have chosen and could not have predicted. But here, still here, not as them. You will not find them. I am not offering you that. What I am offering is something the scale proved in a sealed glass vessel, in Paris, 230 years ago. The matter that made someone you loved is not gone from this world. It is part of it, as it always was, as it always will be. The law does not make exceptions for the people we miss. In 1789, I published this in Paris, Traité élémentaire de chimie, the first modern chemistry textbook. In it, I wrote that in every operation, an equal quantity of matter exists both before and after. Every professor who had taught phlogiston was wrong. Every textbook that had accepted it was wrong, not from lack of intelligence, but from the simple failure to weigh everything. I weighed everything. The scale never lied. Your atoms are immortal. That law applied to me too, on the morning the guards arrived. The tribunal had 28 of us in Paris that morning, the 8th of May, 1794. All former members of the Ferme Générale, the private company that had collected taxes for the king. The official charge against me was that I had added water to tobacco. That was the accusation, not the 20 years of scientific work, not the law of conservation, not the metric system I had helped design, or the gunpowder improvements that had strengthened France itself. They wanted the money they believed we owed the state, and a conviction was the fastest way to seize it. The king was dead. The revolution had decided that anyone who had served him was guilty enough. I sent my written request. 14 days to finish the respiration experiments. 6 months of preparation. The numbers almost complete. History recorded one reply. The Republic has no need of scientists. The proceedings lasted a few hours. The outcome had been settled before we entered the room. My friend, the mathematician Lagrange, heard the news the following day. He said it took them only an instant to cut off that head, and 100 years may not produce another like it. I was 50 years old. I went to the Guillotine that afternoon in Paris. The judge who refused my request was himself executed 90 days later. The revolution consumed him as it had consumed me. His atoms rearranged too, into the same earth and air as mine. The law does not play favorites. It does not care whose side you are on. Now hear what the law says about me. I had spent 20 years proving that matter cannot be destroyed. The men who sentenced me believed they were removing something from the world. They were not. They were rearranging it. The body that walked to that blade did not vanish. The iron that carried oxygen through my blood on that May afternoon is somewhere in this world right now. The calcium that built my bones has passed through soil and plants and living things in the centuries since. The carbon that composed the mind that understood conservation, that calculated and measured and wrote, that carbon has moved through other hands, other minds, in every year that followed. They took my head. The matter in it continued without me. And this is the thing I want to land fully before we are done. On the night of May 7th, the last night before my execution, Marie Anne was still at the bench in our Paris laboratory. I do not know precisely what she was writing, but she was there. She always was. She survived me by many years and spent much of that time ensuring my work was preserved and published across Europe. She understood something I had come to believe more deeply with every year of that work. An idea formed in one mind does not disappear when that mind stops. It moves, the way atoms move, into other people, changed in form, carried differently, but not gone. The law of conservation does not apply only to matter. The guards came at dawn on the 8th of May, 1794. I was at my bench in Paris, measuring what the human body takes from the air when it breathes. The numbers were almost complete. They took my head. They could not take the law. And the law says, measured, weighed, verified, across 230 years without a single exception, that nothing which has ever existed has ever truly stopped existing. Not me, not the people you have lost, not you.